The shadow of fear. In a small coastal town nestled between cliffs and sea, there lived a boy named Elias. He was the kind of child who never dared to step beyond the familiar. While other children climbed the jagged rocks by the shore or ventured into the whispering woods behind the village, Elias stayed close to home, watching from a distance with wide, wary eyes. He feared many things: the deep ocean, the barking of dogs, the dark, and especially failure. His world was carefully curated, safe, and predictable. He wasn't weak or unkind, just shackled by an invisible chain: fear. One autumn afternoon, a letter arrived from the capital. It was sealed with the emblem of the National Scholars Programme Elite competition that granted young minds a full scholarship to the Royal Academy. Elias's teacher, Miss Arla, had submitted his name without telling him. "You have a gift," she said, "and the world needs to see it." Elias held the letter in trembling hands. The test would be held in 2 weeks in the capital city, over the mountains, far from everything he knew. He didn't sleep that night. He paced in circles, imagining the worst. What if I fail? What if I get lost? What if everyone laughs at me? Fear whispered louder than reason. By dawn, he had made up his mind. He would not go. But when he tried to tell Miss Arla, she didn't scold or beg. She simply looked him in the eye and said, "Elias, fear is like a shadow. It grows when you run from it, but it shrinks when you face the light." That sentence stuck with him like a stone in his pocket. Days passed. His classmates prepared for the harvest festival, while Elias wandered to the cliffs above the sea. The wind roared there. The waves crashed below, a place he'd never dared come alone. There, on that precipice, Elias remembered a line from a history book. It was said by a president during a time of national despair: "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." The words settled into his chest like fire. He closed his eyes and whispered them to the wind, and for the first time, he didn't feel entirely powerless. Something stirred in Haima, a flicker of courage, fragile but real. The next morning, Elias packed his bag. The journey to the capital was long and filled with trials. The path over the mountains was steep, and storm clouds followed him like shadows. At one point, a narrow bridge suspended over a roaring river blocked his way. He froze, staring at the swaying planks. His legs wouldn't move. Fear gripped him again, squeezing his chest, whispering, "You'll fall. Turn back. You don't belong there." But then he remembered fear itself. That was the real enemy, not the bridge, not the storm, not even the possibility of failure. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. One step, then another. When he reached the other side, drenched in sweat but unharmed, he laughed not because the fear was gone, but because he had walked through it. When he arrived in the capital, Elias was overwhelmed. The buildings were taller than trees, the streets teeming with people from every corner of the land. He almost turned around, but he kept going. The exam hall was vast and cold. Other candidates looked confident, some even arrogant. Elias sat quietly, heart pounding, but his pencil steady. He didn't aim to be perfect. He aimed to be present. And when the exam ended, he walked out with his head high, not because he knew he had won, but because he had fought a greater battle, the one within. Weeks passed, the results came by courier. The village gathered in the schoolhouse as Miss Arla unsealed the envelope. A silence fell over the room. "Elias," she said, her voice quivering, "you've been accepted." The crowd erupted in cheers, but Elias didn't cry or jump or shout. He smiled softly, as if he had known all along. Years later, Elias became a teacher, then a professor, then an inventor whose ideas helped reshape energy systems in the kingdom. But more important than his titles was the quiet confidence he carried. He often told his students, especially those with trembling hands and fearful eyes, "Fear is a teacher, but don't let it become your master." And always, when he spoke of his youth, he returned to that one line: "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Not because it made fear disappear, but because it gave him the power to walk through it. Authors note, this story is a tribute to every quiet soul who stands on the edge of something unknown. Fear is natural. But if we dare to name I-10 Step Forward anyway, we just might find that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision that something else is more important.